Senate Special Committee on Congressional Redistricting will come to order. The clerk will please call the roll.
Senator King.
Here.
Senator Creighton.
Here.
Senator Alvarado.
Here.
Senator Hinojosa.
Here.
Senator Hughes.
Here.
Senator Miles.
Here.
Senator Parker.
Here.
Senator Paxton. Senator Sparks.
Here.
Being 8 present, a quorum has been established.
I do.
Members, the purpose of today's hearing is to lay out a bill. Members, as stated on the posting, we will not be taking public testimony today. And let me pass the gavel at this time to Senator Creighton. Okay. I have to gavel down some soon.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. At this time, the chair lays out House Bill 4 and recognizes Senate sponsor Senator King to lay out the bill. Senator King.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. I've just got a little bit I've got to go over here. I reintroduced SB 4 on August the 15th, the first day of the special session. Our committee heard SB 4 on Sunday, August 17th, and favorably passed it out. Now, before us today is HB 4, the companion to SB 4 that passed out of the House yesterday. There are some minor differences between SB 4 and HB 4 that I will review with you shortly. It is my understanding that the House Select Committee on Congressional Redistricting drew this revised version of the map with its outside counsel and experts. My counsel has reviewed this as well and concluded that it complies with all applicable law. Now, as I said on August 15th, I reintroduced Senate Bill 4, which was identical to the bill that the full Senate passed out in the first special session. This committee held a hearing for public testimony on August 17th, and we heard from 42 witnesses. That means this committee has heard testimony over this special and last special, if my math is correct, from 247 people testifying on redistricting. At the conclusion of the August 17th hearing, this committee favorably reported SB 4 out of committee by a vote of 6 ayes to 3 nays. Now, where we're at this morning, on August the 18th, as I said, the House Select Committee on Congressional Redistricting introduced a substitute bill for House Bill 4, which they passed out of committee at that time. The substitute, which is now HB 4 engrossed and before us today, affected 12 congressional districts, including CDs 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 14, 17, 18, 22, 29, 36, and 38, while maintaining the 5 now Republican-leaning districts, CDs 9, 28, 32, 34, and 35. Additionally, HB 4 slightly changed CD 16 and 23 to move Fort Bliss into CD 16 and the El Paso General Region. And again, what I'm trying to do here is compare SB 4 to the engrossed HB 4 that's before us today. It keeps whole Navarro County, which had previously been split, placing all of Navarro County into CD 6. It was partially in CD 17. It also moved Liberty County into CD 9, where it was previously in CD 36. The House committee stated their overall intent of the changes was to increase political performance in existing Republican districts from the proposed plan. A review of the map, again, we're talking about HB 4 engrossed, A review of the map shows that it accomplishes those goals through fairly minor changes. 9 of the 12 districts affected are Republican performing districts. Again, this is relative to SB4. 6 of which improved their Republican performance in the House substitute. Those are CDs 2, 8, 9, 17, 22, and 38. The remaining 3 Republican districts, CDs 6, 14, and 36, slightly decrease Republican performance, but remain 60% plus Trump 2024 districts. 2 out of the 3 Democrat performing districts, specifically CDs 7 and 29, slightly decrease in political performance for Democrats, but will still strongly perform for Democrats. The compactness also stays the same overall, with some slight changes from the SB4 map. As a reminder, both SB4 and HB4 have 5 districts that now lean Republican in political performance. Those 5 are CD9, Houston, CD28 in the RGV, CD32 in the Dallas region, CD34 in coastal South Texas. At this time this morning, I would ask for your favorable consideration of House Bill 4 as engrossed. This would be the map under Plan C 2333, Charlie 2333. I believe the changes that it makes are minor relative to SB4, and that they are consistent with the goals that I've set forth for this legislation. Those goals include 1, complying with applicable law, 2, strengthening Republican congressional performance, and 3, maintaining compact districts. Now, HB4 also corrects a concern that was mentioned by witnesses from the El Paso area in one of our previous hearings and brought up by Senator Blanco about Fort Bliss. And again, what HB4 engrossed does is moves Fort Bliss, or portions of it, the portions they were concerned about, back into CD 16 as requested by the El Paso constituents in testimony and by Senator Blanco. And with that, Chairman, I'd be happy to take questions.
Thank you, Senator King. Members, questions?
Yeah.
Senator Alvarado.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman King, this map had some significant changes. And there was not a public hearing in the House committee. There's not one here. And I'm just going to focus on now what is my congressional district 9. It has split up the East End community and has paired us with Liberty. What we have in common with Liberty, I don't know. And I don't know how that decision was based, but it seems like, well, no, you said it very plainly. The goal was to create more opportunity for Republican wins in these districts. And I wish that especially my folks in the East End would have been able to come and give public testimony. You talked about one of the goals being to keep districts compact. But if you look at CD9, by extending all the way out to Liberty, it's not compact. Can you talk about that a little bit? CD9?
Well, as you mentioned, CD9 moved into Liberty County. It made it a better performing Republican district, which was one of the objectives. From a compactness perspective, and compactness is there's a couple of different measurements for that, but even looking at it visibly, it's obviously contiguous. It's still is a amazingly more compact than many of the congressional districts that are on this map across the state of Texas. I can tell you that, as you mentioned, that was not in the original SB4 configuration, but it still meets the goals that I had for the legislation, and that's why I brought HB4 before us today.
You said one of the other goals was to create more opportunity for Republican wins, right?
Yes, the intent was to improve political performance, specifically for the 5 congressional districts I mentioned.
And where did you get that idea from?
Well, I think that's been discussed a great deal between all the Republicans in the Senate and in the House, and it's been discussed by the governor, and it's been in the media. I think it's been a very prominent issue even nationally.
Well, it was discussed amongst y'all, but before that, who put the bug in your ear about that?
I first learned about it probably the same way you did, through the media.
And who was quoted?
Well, I heard a number of people quoted. I've heard congressional members quoted. I've heard White House officials quoted. I've heard Governor Abbott quoted.
Speaking of congressional members, did we have any testimony from Republican members of Congress?
No, and I've specifically not, I have not spoken to, and I've said this before, I have not spoken to anyone in the White House. I haven't spoken to anyone in the Justice Department. I haven't spoken to any members of the congressional leadership. The only 2 congressional members I've spoken to are ones I talk to all the time, and those just happen to be my 2 congressional members and good friends, and we didn't talk in detail about the map.
Okay. Well, it seems like in the regular session, nobody was even contemplating this. Would you agree? In the regular session?
I heard discussions of it before we adjourned, before we sine-died from the regular session.
When was that?
I would say, I don't know, I really don't remember. I just remember during maybe middle of the regular session, I started hearing some discussion about it in the media and among Republicans talking.
That's interesting because this is the first time I'm hearing you even mention that. I mean, because we've talked about it in the hearings, and I don't recall any discussion until President Trump talked about it. And that I don't remember exactly the date of that, but I don't think it was during the regular session. I could be wrong. Maybe somebody can check. Anyway, that's all I have for now. I'll save the rest. I'll have more to say tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Members, additional comments or questions? Senator Miles, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me ask the obvious question, Mr. Chairman. Why are we not hearing testimony on the substitute map?
Well, as I mentioned, we've already had testimony from over 200 people on redistricting, and then we had 43 people testify just the other day on SB4. This is the companion to SB4, and it's been very common practice in the Senate forever that if it's a companion bill and you've already had a hearing on it and already had a lot of testimony, that you do not have to take public, or do not need to take public testimony again when you're considering the companion in the committee. So the parliamentarian has affirmed this, and again, it's common practice. We do a lot of times every session when companion bills catch up.
Would you agree, Mr. Chairman, 2 things? That one, this is not an ordinary situation, that we're in this rigged district?
I think we're the process we're taking for redistricting in this special session is the common practice that we have taken in every redistricting session that I've been a part of.
Okay. Would you agree that by us voting on a committee substitute on which no testimony can be given or was given in the House, we are actually shutting out even more constituents from this process?
No, not at all. As I said, we've had over 200 people testify during the course of the last 6 weeks or so.
But the substitute is making some changes. Is that correct?
It is different. It is different than the companion SB4.
And would you agree with me that we're not allowing constituents to comment on the differences that you just agreed that we're making?
No, I think anybody, the public portal is still open. Anyone can still file comments about it, and they can, of course, reach out to us. And we're just taking the same process that we use all the time on all different types of bills and subject matters with regard to when a companion bill catches up with the bill filed before the Senate.
Okay, let me move on, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Hunter insinuated that the public was lucky that hearings on these maps were held at all. I'm going to quote him. He said, in quotes, "We held 3 public hearings. We are not required to hold those hearings." With redistricting affecting about 31 million people in this state overwhelmingly without their consent, do you agree on that statement, Mr. Chairman?
I think we held 6 hearings in the Senate, and with regard to the 2020 redistricting data upon which this is based, I think there's been a total of 21 hearings in the Senate over the course of, since 2020. And so I think we've had a tremendous amount of input. I think we had over 3,800 clicks to the online when we were doing our teleconference hearings. And then again, just for SB4 in this special, we had 70-something people, I believe, register to testify, and we had, I think it was 43, give us testimony on the companion to HB4.
So are you saying that you agree with him or you don't agree with that statement?
No, I think we've had quite a bit of testimony, and
So you don't agree with that statement?
well, I'm not saying whether I agree with it or disagree with it. I'd have to ask you to read it to me again, but and I didn't hear him say that.
I'll be happy to, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Chairman Hunter stated, "We held 3 public hearings. We are not required to hold those hearings." And my question to you was, with redistricting about to affect over 31 million people statewide, overwhelmingly with their consent, do you agree with that statement?
I can only speak for the Senate. I believe we've had a sufficient number of hearings before the Senate.
Sufficient answer. Mr. Chairman, Chairman Hunter also stated on yesterday that he consulted with counsel to make sure that this new map was VRA compliant. You also stated that you wouldn't vote on a map unless it was the lawyer had told you it was VRA compliant. Do you still stand by that statement, Mr. Chairman?
I do.
Thank you. And 2 more questions, Mr. Chairman. According to the Texas Legislative Council, as of this moment, 38.6% of those voting age population in District 9 is black. In newly created District 9, only 10.2% of the voting age population is black. This is a negative change, Mr. Chairman, of 28.4%. Does that 28.4% drop in black voting population seem race blind to you?
So I haven't looked at any racial data. You mentioned citizen voting age population, or CVAP. I haven't looked at CVAP. I will tell you that CVAP is not really census data. CVAP is an annual estimate. It is very problematic in its accuracy. But this map is based on 2020 data. And again, I haven't looked at racial data myself. I did ask our council to give HB4 engrossed a very good scrubbing. They have reported back to me that it complies with all applicable law, which of course would include the VRA.
So this is the House map, and you're saying that you didn't look at it, Mr. Chairman, before you brought it to us?
I learned about it probably when you did on Monday, when it was presented. I learned about the changes then, and before I took a hard look at it, I asked our council to scrub it and to tell me whether or not it was legally sufficient. When they did, then I tried to do a deep dive into it, and that deep dive is what I tried to relate in my opening remarks.
Okay. So just so we're clear on something, Mr. Chairman, a 28.4% drop in black population in the redo of District 9. It's just coincidental, and that you're saying that this is not race-based.
Again, I haven't looked at any racial data, and I have tried very hard to not do anything that was race-based.
Okay, let's go on to District 18. According to the Ledge Council, again, Mr. Chairman, District 18, which hasn't had real representation for almost a year now, would go from 34% of voting age population being African American to 45%. All of this happening while Hispanic votes age population dropped 7.7% from 3.9 to 32%, and the Anglo population dropping 4.7 from 19.4% to 14.7%. Would you agree that it very much looks like, based on the data, that we are just packing African American voting into District 18, moving everyone else out?
I can't respond with regard to racial data. What I can tell you is that I'm told that, or I'm aware that CD18 should still perform very strong as a Democrat district.
It should. That's a correct statement, Mr. Chairman. Senator King, my objection to this racist rigged districting does not change with this new map. In fact, my opposition gets even stronger because now it's obvious that we're packing Senate District 18, and it's obvious that these maps are actually they're not race blind, as you stated they are. But now there is literally zero opportunity for public to have any input in this map. You break up communities but take no responsibility for them, as my counterpart said. And I will be giving a no vote on this and any other committee substitute that comes before this committee, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Miles. Senator Alvarado, you're recognized.
Thank you. I can't let this go. Mr. Chairman, you mentioned that you heard about this middle of the session. But if I recall, I think Lieutenant Governor Patrick on Sine Die talked about, not seeing us till the next regular session. Governor Abbott had talked about, let's get this all done. We don't want to go into a special. And the first reports of anything having to do with this redistricting efforts came on right around June the 9th or 11th. But you're saying that you heard some talk about this in the middle of the regular session. So that's just not jiving for me.
I didn't take notes on the dates, and maybe I'm a little bit off, but I seem to remember discussions, maybe even a little bit in the media, but I seem to remember discussions before the session was over. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking about the period between Sine Die and, the first few weeks of June or something, but for some reason I seem to recall having heard discussions, not that I generated, but I seem to have heard discussions during the regular session. Maybe some of the other senators would remember that as well, or remember differently. I don't know. I wasn't taking notes. I wasn't thinking about redistricting at the time, but I think that's when I first started hearing about it.
Well, I can't obviously speak for you, but I would strongly disagree, because when you laid out the resolution for the rules, you mentioned that the only reason we were doing this, because it was asked, and you said because the governor put it on the call for the special, and then there was some reference to the DOJ letter. All of that happened in the special. There was no mention of any of this in the regular session. If so, I can't imagine why the governor and lieutenant governor would be talking about not coming back for a special. Let's get this all done. And then, here we are. So I just want to be clear, because when we're talking about making changes to people's congressional representatives, this is a serious topic. I'm really bothered by this new map, because it's taking my home, my East End community, splitting it and putting us with Liberty County, and not having any opportunity for the public to come and address this. And these changes were made just in the last couple of days.
I understand your point. My home is, I think it was during the 1980 redistricting cycle, in which there were a number of court cases and other changes. I think I went through 3 state senators without ever moving in a 10-year period. So I understand, but that just occurs in redistricting. But
When was that you mentioned?
I think that was during the 1980s.
Okay, but that was probably done in a regular redistricting process, not in mid-decade.
No, I mean, it's a long time ago, don't remember, but I remember there were some court cases and things moved from, so during that 10-year period, I changed senators. During that 10-year period, I changed congressional members without ever moving. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of redistricting, and we've talked before about how many times I think we've had changes during the interim in maps. I believe, I have to go back and look at my notes, but I believe every redistricting cycle beginning 1960. And so, my home county is split as well. And that's just part of the part of trying to meet the one person, one vote population requirement as well.
Yeah. And I wrote down those years that you mentioned. There were quite a few, but that has been driven by mainly court cases, not because whoever was in the White House said they needed more congressional districts of their party. It's a big difference.
Well, I know in 2003, it was because the Republicans took a majority in the House for the first time since, well, in the legislature for the first time since 1870, and we did redistricting at that time in 2003.
Wasn't that because the courts did it, and then so you wanted to come back and have the legislature do it?
No, in 2003 we did the legislature, because you had a Republican Senate and a Democrat House and a Republican governor. They were unable to pass a House, Senate, or congressional map in 2001. The redistricting board drew the House and Senate map in the 2002 elections. Again, for the first time, I think, since the 1870s, the Democrats lost control of redistricting. And in 2003, in a special session, Governor Perry put congressional redistricting on the call, and we took it up, and I think we went through 3 special sessions because the Democrats left the state again then as well, and produced a congressional map.
Okay. Well, from what I'm being told and what I'm just reading back, it seemed like it was following the court case and legislature coming back
There
with
wasn't
the
any
new
court case. We just had not done any congressional redistricting in 2001 and tried to do state Senate and House and were unable to pass a bill. And so the redistricting board again took up House and Senate, and then we did congressional in 2003.
Okay.
Because we hadn't done it in 2001.
And was did that come from the White House, whoever was in power, or was that something the state leadership and the legislature decided?
I don't recall. I just recall it being put on the call.
Okay. So right now, as it stands in Congress, there are 25 Republicans and 13 Democrats. Right?
Yes, as part of the Texas delegation.
Okay. And you said that one of the objectives was to create more Republican congressional districts. Why did you feel that was important?
I always feel that's important.
Okay, because now it's going from 30 to 8. I'm just saying, when is enough enough?
Are you asking me personally? I am very proud of the work that the U.S. House has done, and the president and the U.S. Senate over these past 8 months now. I was very concerned and disturbed with what was done during the Biden administration, and I'm very concerned that if the Republicans lost the majority in the U.S. House, that the 2 years following the midterms could be very harmful to Texas and to the United States. And so I want us to maintain a Republican majority and hopefully increase a Republican majority in the U.S. Congress, and that's my purpose for being willing to carry this map.
Well, I think all the work that the Trump administration has been doing, I think all of those issues and policies and bills should stand on their own and let the American people make those decisions and not this rig districting. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Alvarado. Senator Hinojosa, you're
thank you.
recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I just have several points and questions, points of clarification. I know Senator Miles asked, it wasn't clear, but the changes that were made in Senate Bill 4 by House Bill 4 in those congressional districts, those voters didn't have a chance to express their opinion after the changes were made. There was no public hearings on that point.
So as far as the Senate, this is the hearing the hearing that we're having today is the only hearing on HB 4 engrossed before the Senate. However, it's the companion to SB 4, and we've had a previous public hearing with public testimony on SB 4.
But we haven't had any on this side, on the Senate side. I know it gets over-explained, but the point is that I'm trying to make is there was no public feedback or no public testimony on the changes that were made to those congressional districts that came across from the House on House Bill 4 as compared to Senate Bill 4.
My only answer, sir, is that we're following standard Senate process in dealing with a companion bill when it catches up to the Senate bill.
And I understand that, but I mean, it's just a pretty simple question. I mean, no, we didn't have any hearings. Pretty much on this changes we made on our Senate bill from House Bill 4.
I understand.
The other one is there seems to be a contradiction between the three goals that you stated as it relates to improving Republican performance and then keeping communities of interest compact. And the reason I say that because I look in Hidalgo County, which that's where I live, in McAllen. You look at Congressional District 15, Congressional District 28, you cut Hidalgo County in half. Not only that, you separate Edinburgh, the university, from the city of McAllen. Even DHR, Doctors Hospital, which has part of their hospital is in McAllen, the other half is in Edinburgh, is split. And if you look at that's, and if you look, you even split the city of FAR in the House Bill 4. FAR San Juan Alamo, which is one school district, is split in half. So how does that compare to trying to keep community of interest compact?
Well, first off, if you look at the existing congressional map or the House and Senate map, in trying to do one person, one vote, it's inevitable that a lot of cities and counties are divided in school districts. For one reason, cities and counties and school districts don't all share the same boundaries naturally. But compactness communities of interest has to do with a lot more than just geography. Communities of interest, as you mentioned, can be a city, they can be an historic neighborhood, they can be a school district, but they can also be a water district, they can also be a water basin, they can be a transportation district, they can be an economic district of some sort. They can be any number of things that draw people together in common. I use my home district. My district stretches all the way from far east Tarrant County out into West Texas, and some of those counties have 4,000 people. One of them does 4,000. Another one has just 10,000, and then I have Tarrant County that's a large metropolitan area. Yet they share the same transportation district. They have two water basins river basins that provide the water for most of the entire area that have to work together. They're in the same TxDOT region. I believe they're in the same DPS region. Actually, they share two TxDOT regions. Their economic driver is the same for most of the district, all coming out of the Metroplex area. So there's a lot of things that create communities of interest, besides just the geography of a county or a city or a school district.
Well, all the factors you mentioned are being violated in the way Hidalgo County was being split. And the communities that I know and I live in all my life, McAllen, you split it from Edinburgh. You split the Pottsville Island School District. It's one school district, and it's split in half. So those are very important to our community and keeping those community of interest because Congressional 15 goes all the way up to almost San Antonio. The other one happens to be Corpus Christi, Nueces County. There's another county which has been completely split. If you look at some of the neighborhoods, you have
which district are you going to?
That's be District 34. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm up with you now.
that district is also split, and part of the district runs all the way up to San Antonio. And you split the Hillcrest Black Historical Community. You split the Port of Corpus Christi, which is an economic driver that you mentioned a while ago, from the university. So it splits all these communities. They have no relationship to the way the congressional districts are drawn. They go way up north or way into rural counties. They do not have community of interest, same economic drivers, or the same historical roots. So I mean, those are issues that I think are very important to my congressional districts. That now we have to sort of get to know different congressmen and the congressperson may not know the district as well as the one that was previously there. I mean, so those are very important factors to consider because my constituents are what I call they require a lot of help. They require a lot of assistance. So the way the map is drawn for South Texas is not very in the best interest of my community. That's my comment.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hinojosa. Senator Miles, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator King, we established previous conversations and previous meetings that the Republican Redistricting Committee is the one who drew our map. We established that, correct?
I don't know that they had any.
You spoke on that previously.
Are you talking about SB4 or HB4 engrossed?
SB4.
SB4, yes, we had talked about that they had, well, so again, I understand they were involved in that. I wasn't involved in that process with them. I adopted and filed the House map when it became stalled in the House. Okay. And so I don't have all the history on how it was drafted.
So let's check off. You established a House map, and that's what you filed, correct?
When the House map stalled in the House, I picked it up and filed it in the Senate. Okay. As a companion.
And in previous conversation on SB4, we had conversation on this diocese that the Republican Redistricting Committee is the one who we're referring to draw the map, correct?
Okay, it's my understanding that they were involved in the drafting of the original HB4.
Okay. Have we heard back from the DOJ, Mr. Chairman?
No, I haven't talked to anyone with the DOJ.
Okay. And do you understand, Mr. Chairman, that when black folks and minorities tend to lean Democratic, do you agree with me on that statement? For the most part? I
don't know how to answer that. I think that, I hope that people look at issues, and I will just say that I can tell you on the map before us, whether these historically will be, have been Democrat or Republican in performance, but I don't want to speak about someone's political preference based on race.
So you have no idea that black and minorities tend to lean democratically.
So I just want to say that I do not want to take racial data into consideration in my promotion of this map. And what I have looked at and what I'm considering is how areas have historically voted, and I can tell you in any one of these districts whether I think they'll perform strong or weak or split Republican and Democrat.
Well, if you don't want to take that position, then let me make it clear that it is impossible. It's impossible, based on your statement that you made, that you drew the map and you're proud that you've drawn the map for more Republican congressional seats, is what you said to my colleague Alvarado just earlier, that you're proud of that, for more Republican seats. So knowing what I know and knowing what is the obvious, that minorities and African American vote democratically, it's simply impossible to draw those maps race blind that you have done. It's simply impossible, knowing and making the statement that you're proud of the fact that you've drawn more Republican seats in the state of Texas. Okay? But the fact knowing that African Americans and minorities lean democratically, it's simply impossible, Mr. Chairman, impossible to have drawn these maps race blind. And I close.
If I may respond, Chairman.
Senator King.
It's actually incredibly easy to draw a map when you don't take race into consideration, and when you're just trying to meet one person, one vote, and look at Republican and Democrat voting patterns. It's really very easy to draft a map. And frankly, if I'd really wanted to sit down and draw one, I could have drawn one that elected more Republican seats, probably.
May I respond to that?
Senator Miles.
If I can respond to that, if you're taking voting patterns into place, then you know that minorities and African Americans vote Democratic, if you're taking voting patterns into consideration.
All I'm saying is you don't have to look at race to draw a legal map that meets partisan objectives.
Well, if you say you can do that, Mr. Chairman, I find it awful funny that you didn't draw a map. You just took the House map.
I took the House map because it met the objectives that
Which is the game
that I had for a map.
Which is to gain more Republican seats. I understand, Mr. Chairman.
Members, any other questions or comments? Okay, at this time, members, we'll take a vote on House Bill 4. Senator Parker moves that House Bill 4 be reported favorably to the full Senate with a recommendation that it do pass and be ordered, not printed. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Alvarado.
No.
Senator Hinojosa.
Nay.
Senator Hughes.
Yes.
Senator Miles.
No, but hell no.
Senator Parker.
Aye.
Senator Paxton. Senator Sparks.
Aye.
Senator Creighton.
Aye.
Senator King.
Aye.
It's 5-3, 1 absent.
There being 5 ayes, 3 nays, and 1 absent, House Bill 4 will be reported to the full Senate with a favorable recommendation.
Pass it back over.
Thank you, members. Is there?
Pass the gavel back to you, Chairman
All right.
King.
Thank you, members. Is there any other business to come before the committee? Hearing none, Senator Creighton moves that the committee stand in recess, subject to the call of the chair. Thank you, everyone.